Okay, this is me, Gloria, welcoming everyone to today's class. Today we'll be looking at data transformation, data cleaning and transformation in Power BI. Okay, so today we'll just be looking at cleaning of data, how do we clean data and how we transform data. That's basically what we intend to achieve within the next hour. So what exactly is data cleaning? Because that's where we'll do majority of our jobs. And on Power BI, we have over 350 data transformation things that we could do to our data. So it is important that it's important that we get a hang of that. Data cleaning is like doing the laundry. So it's not an exciting task, but it's essential to get the job done. So we need to clean our data, or else we won't get the desired insight that we want from those data sets. So today, I know that when we did the introduction to Power BI, must have heard about the Power Query, which is like the kitchen where you do a lot of your cleaning activities at home. So the Power Query is actually the engine of Power BI. That's where we do our transformation. That's where we clean our data. Today we'll look at what is the data type, what are column properties, what are data transformation, and a lot of that. So data cleaning is just the process of detecting and correcting errors that we have with our data. So there are a lot of inconsistency that comes in with your data sets. Once you receive the data set, especially when it's an unstructured data set, there are a lot of things. There might be typing errors, there might be null values and all of that in that data set. So it is important that we look at that. What are the tips for cleaning our data in Power BI? We have to, first of all, identify and correct inconsistencies that is in the data. There are standard naming conventions that we ought to use. There are values that have been duplicated, so we need to take note of that. There are missing values, and we need to format that data if we intend to get a good insight from that data. So data transformation involves restructuring of the data, how you would restructure that data to fit your analysis requirement. Remember, this is a data analytic track. So you are looking, you have a data set, you are expected to analyze that data set and bring out the insights for your stakeholders. So a few of the data transformation that we will do will be like adding columns, renaming columns, clean and trim, append and merge, at least for this class. So I've looked at the Power Query, which is actually just the engine or the kitchen where we do transformation. So there is data type. How is that data being saved? There are different ways data can be saved when we look at it. What are the column properties? These are a few of others we will look at. So I've spoken about that, your Power Query. Once you've installed your Power BI desktop and you get a data set, it automatically takes you to your Power Query where you are expected to do your cleaning before you start your analysis. So Power Query is just the graphical interface where you can connect to various data. So it's important to note that Power BI can connect with over 250 data sets. With over 250 data sets, as long as this is being saved. It's just for you to know the extension, how that data is being saved, and you will be able to call it in. So what can you do with your Power Query editor? You can get data, like I said, from a wide range of sources. You can apply your transformation, and you can load your data into your destinations. The next thing we'll look at, the query editor has 4 main sections. The main data setting. So we'll get there. There's a query setting pane, and there's where we do our transformation. So data type cannot save as a whole, but same, names, description, textual data, comments, it can be saved like that. Your data can be saved as a whole number. So this represents integers, such as quantity that can be counted or IDs. We have decimal numbers. A column can have the decimal number. So this simply represents things like price, percentages, and a lot. It can also be saved as a date. You can have a column that speaks to a date or a time, a period where an event took place, such as sales dates, order dates, shipment date, delivery dates, and all of that. So these are types of data. We also have what we call the Boolean type. You can have a column that you will see yes or no, or true or false. So that's the Boolean type. Then we have the currency that speaks about the value, the revenue that comes in. So they are, the cost, your profits. These are currency. Duration also, we have that percentage that's spoken about that, and binary. So the next thing we have column quality, we have column distribution, and column profile. This one, column quality, when you look at it, it shows you the number of valid, number of errors that you have in your data set. Do you have an empty data set? It will give you, it's to categorize those things for you. So column quality helps us with the readability and consistency of our data. Why column profile, provides an
Hello, Gloria.
in-depth look. So, it gives you an in-depth look of what your data set is. So I was talking about clean. When we use the clean when we use clean is actually used to remove non-printable characters. We also have what we call, we talked about removing duplicates. And so when you have your data set, sometimes you have data duplicated. So you need to remove duplicates so that you would have the exact insights that you're looking for. We also have errors that come with data, so you can also remove error. I think we should just go straight to the demo. Let's quickly do the demo on how to clean and transform our data. When I believe we all have installed our Power BI desktop on our system. Can we confirm we've done that?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this interface is what you see once you open your Power BI desktop. So the first thing to do is, like we've said, is to get data. Now, when you say get data, you must be able to know how that's your data set, how you have saved it. In essence, what are the extensions to that data set? So I want to call in a data set. It's a CSV. If you put in a wrong extension, you will not get And let me bring in this data. Now, once you made a connection with your data, you have this interface. Now, the ideal thing to do, the proper thing to do, is to transform your data. It simply means take a second look at that data before you load it up into your Power Desktop. So I'm going to leave load. I'm going to click transform. That's the ideal thing, except you're working with structured data, relational data that are coming from maybe SQL and all that. You know that data must have gone through a bit of cleaning. You may skip that, but the ideal thing to do at this stage where we are is to transform the data. So I'm going to click transform. And once you click transform, it takes you into that kitchen, the engine of the Power BI desktop, which is the Power Query. Now, we're seeing all of this valid, error, empty, and all of that. That speaks to, the column properties that we're talking about, column distribution and all of that. If you intend to see that on yours, just go to view. You will click on the column profile, column quality, and all of that. This is where you can check them, click that and you'll be able to see all of that. So I'm just going to pick that up. I just wanted to show us that. Now, this is the data set that we have got. It's titled Trim and Clean. Remember, I talked about trim being used to clean up white spaces, of your data set. And if you take a very good look at this data set, you will see, okay, you're seeing username, name, gender, date of birth, occupation, subscribed, and total spend. Now, this is an example of data set that we're talking about. Now, you have to look at it because what you want to work in, what you want to do your visualization on are the things you are supposed to take to your Power BI desktop. And so whatever you feel you don't need, this is actually the kitchen where you can discard that. I've looked at this data set and this is a username. I know your username on different websites may not be that ideal name. So you can see name and username. So this username, I don't intend to use it. So what do? I'll just take it off. So you either take it off from here. There are other ways I will also show you. You just right click on that column and you can press remove. Now, these are the panes. Remember I talked about that the Power Query has 4 major things we need to note. These are where your queries are. Your query settings are here. The properties are under it. These are your applied steps. Anything you do here will be recorded here. This is, if you look at it, the moment you bring it in, most times, you take it, it gives it like a promoted header. And the step we just took, remove column. So if you find out that you made a mistake, I'm not supposed to do that and I've done that. So you just come here and uncheck that. So if I remove this, you see that the username is back. So the username is back. So I said you can right click this way and just take off. Or you can also come here under your home here. You'll be seeing remove columns and all of that. Whichever one is work for you, fine. So we have taken off that column. We are left with this column. Now, if you look, you will be seeing there are some spaces here. There are some white spaces. Let me bring in the other one. There are some other white spaces. I tend to show it. So this is it. If you come here, you can right click and say trim under transform, or you could also do it from up there. So let's quickly, if you come, just right click, you'll see transform, and under transform, you'll see trim. If there are white spaces there, it will take them off. And you can also clean your data. You press clean, and that's what's going to happen. So it will clean, or you could also do it from here. Now let's quickly take a look at this data set. That's the essence why you are at the Power Query. If you look at the data sets properly, so you are seeing name, and beside the name there is alphabet there. You are seeing some things. So this is what we call the data type. So remember when I was on my slide, I was showing that it could be decimal, it could be whole number, it could be percentage, dates, and all of that, down. So this is name. So name is saved as a text. Beautiful. So that's good. The gender is also saved as a text. That's good. Our date of birth is saved as a text. This is not a text. It's meant to be a date. So if you click dates on your data sets, like I've done on mine, it's showing error. My system. So what I'm going to do is just come back, depending on if your system is a US or a UK system, how it's being saved. So just press use local, because the data sets that you get, you get it from different places. So on this place, you just change it to dates. And I'm going to change this. It's showing US, this data. So let me put UK and I'll click OK. And it has saved that data set as date. Occupation is text, fine. Subscribe date, I'm going to do the same, just to save us a bit of time. I want to save it as dates. If you click on it and it goes immediately, that's fine. And the total spent is saved as decimal. Then the next thing to look at, if you look at this data set very well, am I still audible, please? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, Gloria, loud and clear.
Okay, so if you look at number 5, it's showing Mr. Harrison Bowen, but on the gender, it is showing female. If you go down and look at, what is the number again? Okay, Mr. Jordan Andrew, but on the gender, it is showing female. So, these are the inconsistencies that come in with data sets, and that's the essence why you have to take time to do it. It's actually a task, but it is worth doing so that you will have a good insight. In this case, so what do we do? How do I replace? Of course, Mr. Harrison is meant to be a man. It's meant to be male, and I'm having female here. And this data, you have like 542 rows of this data. So the thing to do is just come, let's quickly just do what we call replace value. No, not replace value, sorry. We want to change that Mr. to Mrs., but you can't do that on all of this. So we are going to add a column. Let me just show you. I'm going to add different columns. There is what we call conditional column. There's column from example. There is, custom column and all of that. These are things you need to play around with. So I want to call this gender. Remember, we have gender there. So let me just say gender 2. See, when I put gender, you can see it's starring it. You can see this yellow sign here that you already have that before. So let me put gender 2. So what am I saying? If, calling for example, this is what we talked about, selection. So column from example, what am I trying to do? Just give it an example, no matter the number of rows. So I want to say Mr. You can see it has said Mr. Bali Glover. So once you hit OK, it has brought out all the rows all the Mr. and Mrs. that you have here. So I don't want this saved as text at the delimiter. Let me save this as title. It's OK. The gender is Mr. then the output should be male. Else, it should be female. So that's my pen. If the title equals Mr., then it should be male, else it should be female. Are we getting it? Sorry. What I did when I did the conditional column is that I said, wherever you have Mr., please insert male for me. Else, any other thing you find there, let's have female there. Then if you take this new gender that we have and you bring it here, let's put it here. You can see that which from the data set we got is reading female. Now you have changed it to a male, and Jordan Andrew, that was a female, you have changed it to a male. So there's no point having these two column here. This one is overriding, this is the correct one. So we'll just take, so we can also tell this person already has on. So these are ways we clean data before you start analyzing and doing your visualization. So let me bring in another data. Now, while you are in the kitchen or while you are at this Power Query, you don't need to go back to your Power BI desktop. You can call any other data set that you need from here. All you simply need to do, on this place, you'll be seeing new source because you're already in the Power Query. You're already in the kitchen. So there you won't be seeing get data. So let me call in another data set. Let me just call it text quickly. I need us to be very careful. Please, let's look at this data set. Let's look at this interface. What do we notice? Did you notice anything? I need response, please.
Yeah, it's like phone numbers or something. I don't know.
Okay, that's not actually what I was looking for. You know, the first time okay, go ahead.
I think as you are trying to call in the data, it doesn't ask you to transform data or not, because I think it's because we're already on Power BI query.
Yes, beautiful. So we're already at the Power Query, so we won't be seeing the former first one we saw load, transform, and all of that. So now you are just seeing load because you're already there. You are not, you're already there. So you're not going to see that. So that's beautiful. So you're just seeing load. Okay. So what we did, we're already there. So we just call it in. Let me just call in more of those data sets and show us how. What we intend to do here, we intend to split our data. So because it is part of cleaning. So I've called in 3 other data sets, clients, country, and sector. Now let's start with our clients. What are we seeing? On the first column, what do we have? We're seeing column 1 and customer code. We talked about that naming convention. If you don't look at this thing and you just load it, when you start doing your visualization, you'll be seeing column 1 and you don't know what it's all about. So that's the essence why you need to spend a little bit of time here to look at your data sets. So I don't want this column 1. There's something we call here. Look at this over here. You'll be seeing use first row as header. Are we seeing this? So
yes.
Yes. So once you hit it, underneath it, there are other things. Use first row as header or use header as first row. So once you hit that, it will take up that first column that you don't want, and that's your the column that you want will go off. So we see now that we have customer code. So this is the code for a customer. And we also talked about our data type. So this is our data type. It is showing, what's this data type showing in place? If you can see, we have the alphabet, the ABC, which speaks text. To that is what? Text. Beautiful. So it is text. It's okay. It's a code. Now let's look at this country data set. So what do? Somebody should just tell me. We just said that we have column 1, column 2, code and country underneath it.
Use the first row.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful. So so we'll come here and say use first rows as header.
As headers.
You see that? So it has taken those column 1 and 2 out of it. So we have code and we have country. So these are the cleaning we talked about. And our data set is what? Saved as text. Yeah. Beautiful. So the next one, let's quickly just look at the sector. It has code and it has so this one is okay. Now let's quickly look at this. As you're seeing this customer code, you are seeing alphabets, you are seeing letters, you are seeing numbers with it. We are seeing in between, we have alphabets in between. Can we see that? And we intend to split this because this code probably have the customer code, the sector code, and the country code all put together. And you intend to split. This is where we split. Can we see this? So once you click on this arrow, it will be asking you different questions. How do you intend to split? By delimiter, by the number of characters, by position, maybe digits to non-digits. If you click digits to non-digits, are you seeing it has separated the first digits to this? And okay, I'm saying, oh, there's this AL that's actually a country code. I want to split it again. And I'm saying, okay, go ahead and split this. So this is from non-digits probably to digits. You can see this, it has separated it this way. But remember I said you can uncheck whatever you don't want here. So assuming we have it here, all these things are things you can play. We can separate them by position also. We can sort by uppercase and lowercase. Let's try position. So what you're saying is count the numbers of this. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. PowerBI is, that's why it's called business intelligence. It has given you an idea of what it is. So if you click OK, you will still achieve those 3 other steps that we took. Do we get that? And so right now, we can have customer code 1, customer code 2, and customer code 3. So this speaks to the naming convention that we spoke earlier on. So you just have to rename it. So we can say this is the customer code, while this is the country code, and this will be the sector code. Please, are we following?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Okay, so right here, and I need to get in, call another data. So what do? Somebody should give me an idea. I want to bring in another data set.
New source.
New source, beautiful. So let's bring in. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I've just called in another data set. Of course, we have said we won't see transform, so we just load our data. So this is the data. We can see how dirty this data looks. We're seeing column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're seeing spaces here. So apart from use first row as header, if you look at this place properly, you will see remove row, keep rows, remove column. We're seeing empty rows here, 1, 2. So I'm going to say, take out these rows for me. And it's asking, how many rows do you intend to take out? So I said 2. You can see that it has done that, has taken away those 2 rows. Then we'll now come to say, okay, now use my first row as header. You can see that it has done that. Then the next thing to do is always check how your data is being saved. This is a date, and it's saving it as a text. So you can just hit date directly, or you go through this way, because this is how my own system is being configured. I just want to change this to dates, and let me go in UK. Simply means give me the month before the day, and so the product is saved as text. Beautiful. The serial number text. The sales price, good. The cost price as decimal, and this looks good. This looks good. So we have removed the rows that we don't intend to use. We could also do a bit of calculation where you have things like the sales price, cost price. Assuming we want to change this to, let's say, quantity. Assuming you change this to quantity, so you could say your sales price times the quantity will give you the amount sold. You can say, okay, let's call in, let's add a column. So if you click on add a custom column, it will ask you that column that you want to bring in. What do you intend to call it? So we can say this is our sales. Now it has itemized all the columns that you have on this side. What do you want to do? We want to say, okay, our sales price times our quantity will give us the sales for that day. So you either double click on it, or you click once and say insert. It will give you sales price. And if you press Shift 8 on your system, that's just times, and times the quantity. And if you hit the OK button, this is your sales. This is, we have just done a transformation. This is sales. So no matter the number of rows that you have on that data set, Power BI in a split of seconds a minute will get that calculation done for you. Let's quickly move to replace value. Let me call in another data set. I want to show us how we can replace value. So I want to bring this London expenses and say, okay, by now we are already good with this. Now, sometimes you see your data sets in this way. So there's really nothing to be afraid of. So right now, somebody should put me through what to do. Please, let's quickly run what to do. I'm having column 1, 2, 3, London, and I'm having spaces.
Move the rows that you don't need first.
Okay, remove the rows that I don't need first. So I'll click remove top rows. How many, what's the number?
3.
The first 2 rows.
3.
The first 2 rows.
So that
Okay. So once we take out the first 2 rows, and you could also now do your use my first row as header. Beautiful. Now we're looking at the category. It is saved as text, so that's good. That's quite descriptive. So it's going to be a textual information. Date claim. It's saving it as a text, but it ought to be a date. So I'll just go through here and save that as a date. Okay. Now this amount, what is it supposed to be? It's saving as text. Is that correct? Do we leave it this way?
No, currency.
So how do I correct it, please?
You click on the ABC, the data, to change the data type.
What should I use?
Right. Yes.
currency.
Are you seeing? So there's an error. There's something wrong about that, how that data set is being saved. Now, if you look at, because of the symbol, the pound symbol that we have there, and some other things, it will take that first distance. So for me, what to do is we could replace value. I don't want to replace all the money. I'm saying wherever you see this pound sign, Don't put anything, just give me the figure the way it is. And boom, you have your information this way. If you still save this as a text, as a decimal, you're going to be having, are you seeing this error sign here?
Not agree.
So that is, yeah, so you need to take a good look at your data set. So you could just come and say, okay, let me replace this. You were saying not agree. One of the ways you can check what is in a column, if you click this arrow beside it, not where you have your data type, it will show you all the values that you have there. You see, it's easy. Sometimes you may not see that and you do that transformation, but if you come here, are you seeing that this not agree is, are you seeing it here? Are you seeing it here? So we need to replace that. So I'm going to say replace not agree where you see it and just put 0. Now, if you change that data, your data type to decimal, it's going to go. So these are the transformation that we have to do when we bring in our data set. Let's quickly call in another data set. And okay, no, we're not done with this. We're seeing accommodation. Ideally, when we're in, when we write, or this tells us that what do we think should be under number 2, number 3, 4, 5? What should be there?
The type of accommodation.
It tells us that accommodation, yes, from 8 to 16, you should have bank charges and all of that. So I can't start typing. This, sometimes your data set runs into hundreds of rows. So you can't start doing that. But there are ways you can give a command to your Power BI, do it in your transformation, and this will be done. There's something we call fill down or fill up, whichever one. Now, what we do with that is when you have a data set that looks like this. So you just come in. I will want to say replace value. What do we want to replace? We're having empty values there. So we're saying value to find. Just look for all the empty values and put null. And when you hit OK, it's going to put insert that null for you. Then you can now come and say here, fill down, and it will do that for you. Please, are we following?
Yes.
Am I alone?
No.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you can do that, and that it will fill.
Please, could we repeat that video, please? Thank you.
Can I repeat the fill down?
Yes, please.
You got it. You got it after up to here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So while you're there, you just right click. You have to play around with all of this. All these things you see here, you can also find at the top. But let's just go with this. So you just click fill down. Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay. So these are cleaning and transformation. That's exactly what we're doing. We're not doing any other thing here. We're just looking for data sets and we're cleaning them and we're doing a bit of transformation. We have done, we have inserted a column, we have added a custom column, we have also added conditional column. So these are things we need to play around with. Let's call in another data set. Remember, you must know how your data set is saved. If you have an Excel data set and you are calling for CSV, you will not see that data set. If I'm bringing in another data set, and this time around, we want to do what we call on pivots. Now, you can have a data set, or they can give you a data set, but it is only one out of those tables that you need to work with. You can open your data set and have 20 tables there. So you must look for the instruction, which one are you to work with? So you don't just bring in all the 20. So like this, we have response and answers. So I just intend to bring this in. Are we seeing this data sets? If you take a look at this data set, so we're seeing restaurant, date, overall, the main meal, the starter, the dessert, the staff, the music, the decor, websites, directions, the value of money. Sometimes you have all this information, and they run into large columns, and sometimes looking at it, you can just get tired. So what you are saying, okay, fine, this is a data set that speaks to a restaurant. Okay, fine, I know that there are restaurants here, and sales have taken place on different dates. Those are the two key things on these data sets. The other things now, summarize these other things for me. Let me know. I don't just want to have them like this. So that's what we do when we say we want to pivot. So what we will do now, you will pick your restaurant and pick this day. That's what I want to do. So just press your shift and tap on as many, if you need to bring in, so you just press your shift button down and you tap on any of them that you intend to bring. So you press your shift. I want to bring just these two and pivot the other columns. So you can come. Are you seeing this column? You can also do this by right. Once you right click, you can see the same things. I'm just trying to show us that we can also get it from here. So we are saying on pivot columns or pivot other columns. If you click any of this will give, they're all giving different commands. If I say on pivot columns, this is what you're going to have. It will take that column that are the one, put them as attributes and values and give you the other information, but that's not what I want to do. So you can have unchecked it there. So you just on pivot. So once you click on pivot other columns, it has summarized what you have. So as for Spicita on this day, for the overall, this is what you have. For the main meal, this is what you have. For starters, this and dessert. So it has given you what are your attributes, the descriptions, and what values do you have attached to all of those. So these are the ways we do a bit of those cleaning that we are talking about. So you could see that this is easier to read and to understand. So if you do your visualization from here, it is clearer. I want to bring in another data set. It's just 1 minute.
Sorry. So I want to ask a question.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to have like a clear picture of what the purpose of the pivot columns and the unpivot columns is. I didn't really understand the explanation.
I didn't get the question, please.
Okay, I just wanted to understand what the function, what is it supposed to do, the pivot columns and the unpivot columns. I didn't really get the explanation of what the purpose of doing that is.
Sorry, can you hear me? So, it just means you take the data when you from a normalized format and put it, we have all those data spread out. Rather than having those large numbers, just rotate it, aggregate those data from those multiple rows and put them for me in a format. That's what it means. Do you get that?
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, I don't know.
Yes, I said yes, I can.
When we do on pivots, we're trying to summarize those large details that we have into something that is a bit readable. And that's what we just did. I'll just quickly try to get one more data so that we'll just finish and we'll ask our questions. Please kindly indulge me to do that. Let's quickly I just want to do what we call, you can have a data set and some other information can be in another data set. So you can have 2 or 3 data sets and you need 1 or 2 information from here, assuming, okay, like the data set I intend to get, let's get an Excel data set. And I'll show us how to, this is a data that contains, let me just say like general data of people working. So we'll just bring this in. Now, if you look at these data sets, now this is one of the things to do when you're also working. If to take a very good look at your data, look at what we have here, column 13 to 17. All have null values in them. So there's no point bringing all of this in. So what do? You remove, let's just take them off. Let's quickly get another data set, but we intend to merge that data. So let me bring this in. Now this data set look like maybe a hospital data set, or for clients. It has their information, but on this personal aspect, it has information that has to do with credit card, their MasterCard, when it will expire, their blood group, and all of that. So once you have a data set like that, what you intend to do, there are some information you need, either 2 or 3 columns that you need to bring. So you intend to merge that data sets together. So if you look up here, you will see merge queries. We can be on one query and merge the other. We can leave those 2 data sets and so just merge the queries as new ones. Now it's going to ask you, it's a business intelligence tool, which of them do you want? The first one, okay, is the personal. So you have picked the personal. Then you want to supply the other information. The other information I had looking for is on the data. What's in these 2 data that that you can join together? You can see that the email addresses are the same. So you must click that. And once you do that, it's not like PowerBI, but because of time, we won't be doing all of that. So just make this data. So it has seen 106 and 106 rows of the first data. Okay. Remember we said merge as new. So merge as new simply means don't tamper with what we have. They just give me a new data set that has both of them together. So this is the data set, the combined data set of those 2. Now, what we have, remember the first one we have is general. I mean, on the data, merge it really. Yeah. Now, if you look at this, you'll be seeing a table. I showed you that it brought it in, but paraventure, you don't need all of that. So once you click this arrow here, not on the data type, you can say, okay, don't bring in the email address for me. Don't bring in the surname. All I need, you just bring in what exactly you want. okay, I just need the name, the gender, I don't need the telephone number, so that you don't bring all of what you don't need. You just bring the things that you think will be necessary, and if you click OK, you find that those are the things that they will bring down for you. And remember your naming convention. So you're not going to leave this general data surname, general data first name. So you need to make it readable. So we can just say surname and the likes like that. The last thing we would do, I will leave this place, this one, so that we could do that. You see, we have brought in general data, close personal data, but you don't intend to load all of them because that would be heavy for you. So you can right click on, look at where my cursor is, you can just right click and say on this personal, when I'm loading it to the desktop, you see where you have enable load, you uncheck it, and once you do that for any of the data sets, you say, okay, what you're just saying is, when we're loading it, don't load everything. Yeah. I was just talking about that. If you right click on any of these, there's an icon called enable load. If you uncheck it on any of that, it means don't load it to my Power BI desktop for visualization. That's what it simply means. That's what I was trying to explain. I don't want this to appear as merge one. Please, let's just listen. I think I'm just about rounding up. This internet as well. So I just want to rename it, and I may just say this is staff data.
My question is, after working on the Power BI, how do you save it? Like if you work on the Power BI, how do you save it? So that next time, maybe if you could not finish a work, how do you save to come back to continue?
When you open your document, when you open a blank, your Power BI blank, before you start working, you can save your file like you do, when you're typing a document, you just click on the file and you say save as. So this is what we have. So it has loaded it, it's working on it, and it's going to bring it back and save. So you just go close and save, or start working. The moment you start working, the first thing to do, if you think that's the way you want to, you just click, give your file a name. So it has loaded it and it has come out. So this was what I would do. So let me just say June cohort. This is tech stylus cohorts 5. So once it's uploaded, you just click save as and hit the save button.
Okay, any other question? Odunayo, you have your hands up.
Any other questions?
You have a question?
Okay, I have another question, please. Last week you said we are going to have double class. Hello?
Yes, another class will start at 6. Yes.
Okay.
Another class will start at 6.
Okay, like when we try to
Somebody
import
asking
or
a
transform
question.
data. My question is, when you were trying to transform data and the imported data down to the Power Query, so there's one thing you call trim. Please, can you explain that, because I couldn't get that part.
Did you say the query? The Power Query?
Yes.
Get that.
After the
Is it
data has
possible
been
to type
imported
it,
to
or
the
anybody can help me type it here, because I can't hear you.
Okay, somebody is asking if the data sets will be shared. Yes, the data sets will be shared.